Welcome to the Jensen-Olson Arboretum on the traditional lands of the Akwaan people near Juneau, Alaska. Today we are with Ginger Hudson, the manager, and we're going to be talking about pruning. She's going to demonstrate a couple of techniques. We're going to talk about the whys, the hows, and the whens. So Ginger, let's start with the why.
Why we might want to prune, and we're mostly going to focus on woody plants today. To shape your plants, you might need to prune when something is damaged, and you might want to prune to encourage more growth or more flowering and at the proper time.
So what about how? How do you prune?
How is a good question. You want to use a good pair of pruners, and the best to use are bypass pruners. So bypass means the cutting edge goes past the holding edge. One passes the other, that's the bypass. That gives you a clean cut, it shears right off. If you have larger branches, you might want to use a pair of loppers. And anything over 2 inches or so, you might want to get out your handy folding saw. And how we prune, let's take an example here. I've got a rhododendron that has been growing over a walkway. So I am taking off little bits to prune for space. And when we do that, we want to cut with the sharp edge against the plant. And what I mean by against the plant, it's the part that's going to keep living. So I will cut like so at a joint. You don't want to cut in the middle. If I cut in the middle, this little piece is going to die. The plant's going to try to keep it alive. There's no purpose in that. So we want to cut it back to a joint. You also want to cut at an angle. That way the water is going to run off. If you cut flat facing up as so, water will sit on there and will just cause rot in the plant.
So that's a hardwood. What about softwood?
So we've got some good softy roses here that have put out a lot of green new growth this year. Same principle. Roses are really easy to demonstrate. Same technique. We're going to cut at joints, so where a leaf node comes out, where a large thorn is, those are good points to cut because the plant will not be trying to continue growth of just a little twig. For instance, if I cut right there, this segment is not going to live well. So what I want to do is cut at the leaf joint. And a reason to cut roses is to encourage more blooming or for shaping.
What about when?
When depends on what's wrong with the plant. I've got a lilac here, and a couple of timing issues with lilacs. First, you want to cut them right after they're done blooming because they start setting their flowers for next year right after they've finished blooming this year. So if you need to prune any lilacs for shape, you're going to cut it right after it's bloomed. However, we've got an example where we had a branch that had a rotten spot on it that broke off. We also have a large dead area. So we're going to remove this whole branch to take the stress off and just remove the dead material. It doesn't need to be there. And what we've done is we've made a nice clean cut against another major branch at an angle so that that water will run off. A couple other things, more soft items to cut would be perennials. We have some geraniums here and masterwort. The geraniums have done flowering, they're starting to set seeds, and a lot of perennials, if you cut those seed heads off, it might generate more growth for the year. And same thing, you want to cut them either at these flower stalks at the base, or you want to cut them at joints like so. The masterwort was already setting seeds. I had a few seeds popping out here, and I will cut them same. I will go back to a joint, and that way, hopefully, another flower is stimulated to come out of that joint.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat, for being here. Thanks for the Friends of the Jensen-Olson Arboretum to help with our videos.